Welcome to Growth and Inspire, where we examine topics that make us feel inspired and grow. I'm your host, Bonnie Yam, and we will be posting frequently on topics to help you run your business better. It can be issues involving taxes, planning for business growth, or how to run your business more efficiently. Whether you're an individual or a C-suite member of a company, this podcast is for you. Join us on this journey as we will have lots of interesting guests such as business evaluators, insurance experts, tax and finance professionals, and mergers and acquisition specialists. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review if you enjoy what you hear. Now, let's get started on today's episode. Today, our topic is business sales and exit planning. And our speaker is Jennifer Ramos, a healthcare-focused M&A advisor. Hello, Jennifer.
Hi, Bonnie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so happy to have you on the podcast. Now, before we start, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your company?
Yes. So my name is Jennifer Ramos. I am an M&A advisor. I'm also a business broker, and I work with M&A business advisors based here out of San Diego, California. I also have my own consulting firm called JR3 Consulting Group, where I help business owners with exit strategy and to implement those strategies as a business strategy for them. So exit strategy as a business strategy is what I teach and educate on.
This is very complex.
I know.
I probably would need like 3 classes. I don't know. Just joking. So, Jennifer, how did you get involved in the healthcare business? I understand that before you start, you were in healthcare.
I was. Yeah, I have been in healthcare for over 20 years. I started out working as when I was putting myself through college at Scripps La Jolla Hospital in the emergency department. And I worked in various emergency departments as an unit secretary in the trauma center and the ER. I was introduced to home health care by one of the emergency room doctors there who asked me to run one of his businesses that he was starting. So he brought me in. I totally jumped on the opportunity to help him with building this business. I had no idea what I was doing, but I jumped in totally. And so within a few months, I realized that I just had a passion for helping seniors and helping them live their best lives at home. It was a non-medical home care, the first business, and I grew it pretty significantly and ultimately bought out that doctor. I realized he didn't want the business anymore. And within a year, I bought him out. And then I opened up
1 year.
Yeah, just a year. I bought him out. He gave me an amazing deal. And then I started 2 more about an hour from each other. So I had 3 going at the same time.
Amazing.
And yeah, and then I had those businesses for about 15 years and then opened 2 more in Colorado.
Wow. So amazing. That's really very amazing. So how did you decide that, hey, look, I want to switch into M&A, business broker?
So kind of the similar story that some of your audience members probably experience as business owners. You kind of want to challenge yourself, right? And after about 10 years of ownership, you're kind of thinking, okay, what's next? I always ran my companies from the very beginning with the thought that I wanted to transition out of them. I don't know where that came from, but I always operated them with kind of an exit in mind anyway, just naturally. And so when it was time to sell off the companies, I did them at different times. I just thought, okay, well, what's next? I moved to Colorado for 2 years. I realized I didn't want to keep those businesses and sold those. And then came back to California because my family's from here. And I thought, well, what's next for me? So I took a few years off to try to figure that part out. And then I just realized, naturally consulting was kind of a natural thing for me. I love to help people, and I had a lot of peers in the industry in home health and hospice, and they would come to me for advice because they knew that I had successful exits of my own, and I just found myself giving advice all the time. And then I started JR3 Consulting Group, and then it kind of was an evolution through COVID to niche down to exit strategy in particular. And so I became a SEPA.
They don't want to work so hard anymore, right? So
yeah, I mean, just if we remember the time during COVID, a lot of business owners were struggling and they just and especially in healthcare, it was a very challenging time for a lot of healthcare professionals. And
Yeah.
so I just became this huge advocate for them. And then
Do
I niched down to exit strategy, and then I got my M&A, my broker license, and I've been
you,
doing that ever since.
no, you're wonderful.
I love it. I have to tell you, I love it, Bonnie. It's my passion. I'm totally living my dream, honestly.
It's helping people, and then it's
Yeah,
pretty sophisticated and using all the knowledge that you've learned over all these years. And you said,
yeah.
no, I think I've seen something. I think you want to avoid that, and do this
Right,
instead, right?
right. You're exactly right.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I can save tons of time and money for my clients and people out there that might hear me speak, that's my mission, is just
yeah,
to,
yeah. I mean, just like one little question probably can change the entire course of the whole
yeah,
thing,
exactly.
probably. Yeah.
Hmm. Right.
So, what are the typical issues business owners in that field are facing when they decide to exit? What are the challenges?
The challenges for them that I find are most common are they don't understand what's involved with
True.
what makes their company valuable. A lot of business owners will overvalue in their minds what their business is
Yes,
worth.
yes.
And I think a lot of that has to do with what they hear out there in the, in social media and things like that. Everybody's driving revenue. Everybody's talking about get your sales up and sales and sales and sales. But really, it is important. Your sales are important, but what's really more important is how much you keep. So it's nice to get the revenue in, but how much are you actually keeping at the end of the day? And so I think they just confuse that. They think that the business value is tied to just the revenue, and that's just not true.
No.
I mean, without the revenue, you don't have a business really, but there are 11 other factors that are main key point factors that drive the value to your business. And so I think they just don't know what they don't know. So I think that's the biggest challenge, is getting them to understand it.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, I know it's very complex. Can you just kind of explain for those people who kind of new in the game? Okay, so what is the process? So if I want to exit, when should I even start thinking about it? How many years should I plan for, exit?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say, because I teach exit strategy as a business strategy, and I would say as soon as you open your doors and start a business,
With the exit in
I
mind,
mean, whether you're going to exit in 5 years, 1 year, or 15, 20, 25 years is not really relevant. You want to create a business that is bulletproof. And if something were to happen to you as a business owner, an extraordinary life event like illness or something like that, or divorce, it
yeah,
happens, right?
yes,
Statistically, that's
unpredictable.
why
Yes, yeah,
half of the businesses are on the market. So preparing the business for sale right in the beginning and learning
that would be
what that
nice.
means is what I would advise.
Mhm.
Now, for a business owner that has not done that and is thinking of selling, I would say minimum 3 years before
3 years, not
3 years,
tomorrow, okay?
yeah, 3 years before you're thinking you're going to exit. So for all of the business owners that are thinking of retiring, your retirement year, what year is that? And then you just work backward for 3 years. And the reason for that is because the look back for a buyer is 3 to 5 years. And so they're going to look
That's
at your financials,
that's
and we want to make sure that your financials are, you have clean books and you're cash flowing strong, you're showing good, healthy margins, just a lot of other things, but basically 3 years to answer your
I'm
question.
a business evaluator. Ask for 3 years of tax return.
Yeah, it's important. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
minimum. Okay, so I can see the trend. Not hiding any money
right,
from me. So right, yep.
right. At minimum.
All right. Any success stories to share, Jennifer?
Oh gosh, tons.
So
Tons of
so
success stories.
use us, please.
Um, I want to say, and I'm not just saying this just because, um, pretty much every client that I work with is a success story. And I think it's because they just they want the knowledge. They want to know what it's going to take for a strong exit for themselves.
Mhm.
And so when they come to me, they're usually coming to me very unaware, right? They don't know what they don't know. And so when they come to me, their books are kind of sloppy. Um, they're using their business oftentimes, for personal use too much, that devalues the business. And so what I like to do is clean that up a little bit with them, educate them on how this is going to impact a sale, you know, what it's going to take to get their business sellable and desirable. And so they start moving the needle if they start taking the advice and really understanding what's like, you know, what's behind the drive of why they have to make these changes and how it's going to impact their valuation later. It just puts them in the driver's seat and it empowers them. And so when they are ready to exit, they're it's on their terms for the most part. They've just created this bulletproof kind of business where the buyer's not going to discount their business because they just can't really, you know. And so
where's
I
the
got one. What's that?
where's the proof? I don't know. I'm buying the business. Like, where's the money?
Right.
You had to prove to me.
Right, right. One of my favorites, I can tell you, if we have time, one of my favorites was a franchise business owner. And I think she was probably one of my favorites because she was so eager and just a sponge. And when she came to me 2 years before we actually sold her business. And she asked me for those strategies and that advice. And so she and I worked together for about 6 months. It only took 6 months to work with her to get her framework. And I just said, you know, just execute this for the next 2 years, 3 years. And I promise when you do that, your business is going to be very strong, very sellable. Your profits will increase. You're going to become semi-absentee, which is highly desirable to a buyer. And you'll just be in a better position to sell. And she executed everything really beautifully. You know, there's bumps in the road. Sometimes it's not as easy as we say, but she executed. And when she did that, then she came to me. We did her valuation again, or broker opinion of value. She increased her value by 800,000, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you know, it was a lot for her. And so her and her husband were able to, we listed the business and we sold it in a very short period of time. And she was happy and she's now gone off and to do other things with her life.
$800,000. How can you complain?
Yeah, yeah. She was able to do that and become semi-absentee in I want to say about 13 months. So, you know, she just made little tweaks. So it was good for her. You know, it was a good scenario for her. And I was really happy because she was so grateful. And I think I changed her life because I think without that knowledge, her business wasn't really sellable at the time. It would have been very difficult for her to find a buyer.
Wonderful.
So yeah, that was a really good success
That's
story.
actually a very good story because it's not just prepping up for sale. You want to be so ready that you can sell at any time, and then the value goes up, the time shortens up, and then you get freedom. So I don't know how you can complain. Everything is good, good, good.
Right, right. And that's the best thing too, Bonnie, is like when it's on your terms, when you don't have to sell, you know, because then you're not just taking every deal that comes across. You can pick and choose what's right for you and the buyer that's right for you. You know, you're just in the driver's seat.
Yeah, that's exactly so. You're not stressed because, we can't find the right buyer. You have to compromise. It's very stressful. And now I'm calling the terms. I'm calling shit, right? So it's completely different. It's wonderful.
Right.
So I hope like more people think like in those terms, spend some time, get started early. If they have questions, talk to Jennifer.
Thanks, Bonnie.
And I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more complex. That's why we need to start early. Otherwise, anybody can do it. So I think that's great. I think that's like easily, quickly capture why this is important, why you should start early, and then there's a methodology. Sounds like So you need to be cognizant about like planning ahead and doing the right things, and then you will reap the benefits. Otherwise, you work so freaking hard. Where's the money? Right?
Yeah, and it's your legacy. Me as a business owner, when I used to have my businesses, they were like my babies. You see them from nothing, and you grow them into something very special. Especially with healthcare, because it's like service. You're caring for human people.
Right. You see them grow.
Right. And the employees, you're changing their lives. And if you can create a company culture that's strong, I mean, the whole thing, right? So to pass that baton on to someone else, I mean, your ending is someone else's beginning is really a beautiful thing that in that transition for both parties.
A lot of business owners don't want to pass on. They think they can live on forever.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I know, and that's okay. I mean, that's great, but 100% of us are going to at some point, and whether we do that on our terms or not is
That's exactly it.
up to us, really.
That's the most important part, you know.
It's the most important part, and I feel like we kind of take for granted sometimes as human beings that everything's going to be as is. Like we're going to be this healthy, next month or next year, and we might be,
Or you
but
know what, Jennifer, they don't want to think. It's too, oh my God, they give me a lot of pain just thinking about it. So tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow,
yeah,
And then
yeah.
don't know it's probably a little too late. Then oh my,
Yeah, exactly. And that's what my mission is truly, is just to empower people so they're not stuck
I like the way
with,
you explain it. You make it like simple, it's more lighthearted because like a lot of people just say, okay, wait a minute, and then they show you all those things, and oh my God, I don't even want to get started anymore. It's scary. So I like
yeah.
the fact that you're knowledgeable, you can explain it in a very simple, easy to understand manner, and
Mhm.
then there's an end to all this. Like there's a set methodology, and then most of your clients are really happy about it. So perfect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You just tackle one thing at a time until
Yep.
the whole thing's tackled. And then before you know it, it's all done. You're done. You know, you can kind of, truly, you've
Yes.
built this thing. Yeah, you've built this valuable empire, and then you can sit back and just, breathe again. So yeah,
So
thank you for saying that, Bonnie.
I've
I try
asked
to make
all
it as
my
simple as
questions.
possible.
I've asked all my questions. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
No, I don't. I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to your audience.
Yeah.
It's really important. And the more we can get that message out to business owners, the more empowered they're going to
We'll,
be.
we'll be posting this everywhere.
Oh, I'm excited. Thank you,
Yeah.
Bonnie.
So if you have other things that you want to share, I can also help you post them online. All right.
Okay.
So
Thank
okay. So we all know that we at one point we need to think about transition, and it's never too early to start. So if you have any questions about this topic, you know who to reach out to. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review. Your feedback help us reach more listeners and improve our content. And don't forget to like us on social media. Join us on our next podcast with the financial planning for retirement. It's something we all want to know more about. So let's keep learning. And until next time, stay inspired. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bonnie.